Hey, you guys good? You guys angry? Let's talk about it. Now, there's one thing I want to clarify before I start this video is that if you already have the expert plan, as of right now, you will be grandfathered in and the new prices will not apply to you. So you will pay $199 for 1,000 websites as long as you are a member with Elementor. Now, these prices will remain and they will still stay in effect until March 9th. So you have until March 9th to actually upgrade to the expert plan. Now, after March 9th, the new pricing will be in effect and these prices will no longer be available. So I just want to make that very clear before I start this video. So we have a lot to talk about today, but before we do, please watch this video all the way to the end and don't like or dislike this video just yet. I want to get your opinion. Now, I spent around a day researching and really studying on a lot of things before I made this video. I didn't just make the video out as fast as I can to get views. I really wanted to dig on it and I really want to get your opinion, and I'm going to bring up some key factors. I'm also going to propose a counter plan for Elementor if they are watching this to see if my counter plan might be something suitable or might be something they might be interested in. So again, hold your likes and dislikes to the end, and we're going to use that to vote on whether you think that Elementor was justified with their pricing plans. Now, first things first, as you guys know, Elementor has raised their pricing plan by quite a bit. So this is their new pricing plan. Now, they have the expert plan for $199 being around 25 websites or for 25 websites, and that used to support 1,000 websites. Now they've actually changed that and they've added two more plans. So they've added the studio and the agency. Now the studio plan holds around 100 websites, and that includes their VIP support. Now this VIP support is supposed to include 30 minutes of a support rep or agent responding to your problem with Elementor, which seems very interesting. They also have this agency plan, and that used to be the expert plan. That used to be $200. Now it's $1,000, and that is for 1,000 websites, and that includes their VIP support as well. Now, again, there's a lot of questions about this, but let me go ahead and tackle each one by one, and let's go ahead and see if this was good what they did or if this was something that you disagree. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is I want to reiterate and I want to criticize their actual original pricing plan. So let's just first focus on the essentials and the advanced. I mean, the essentials plan with $49 only holds one website. Now, what benefit does that do to anybody? I mean, is that really going to help anybody? Is their advanced plan really going to help anybody? From 1 to 3 websites doesn't really seem fair to double the price. And when you see the expert plan, you're like, well, 25 websites, maybe I have to do that, but that's kind of too expensive, and that can kind of gear people away from Elementor. Now, here I have my Evernote. All right, so here's a counter proposal, and I'll explain why I kind of made this pricing plan as a counter to their original pricing plan. So I think the biggest problem with Elementor's pricing plan is the essential and the advanced are useless plans, and I think everyone out in the community knows it. So what happens is these people are kind of forced to kind of upgrade to a plan they don't really necessarily need, and the problem with that is that creates this ethical dilemma. It creates people saying, well, you know, Elementor just wants my money. So I understand Elementor is a business, and we'll talk more about their overhead a little bit later. But for right now, you guys can see, I think something like this would be a little bit more appropriate for Elementor to kind of help ease their way in for users and for people that are getting started with WordPress and Elementor. So I think their basic plan of something like the Essential plan should support something like 3 websites. And the reason why it's 3 websites is because a lot of people watch my videos and they're getting started out with their first websites. And when you get started out with your first website, the first thing you might do is you might build another website, right? And it's like, all right, cool, I can use Elementor Pro on the second website. Awesome. And oh, let's check out this other blog. Maybe I can make a website on this third website and use Elementor Pro. So I believe adding 3 websites into their basic plan just helps kind of get the basic user started with WordPress and Elementor. Now, let's say, for example, that first user decides to say, well, you know what? I like Elementor. You know, maybe I can do this for, you know, my friends or my family. And then we give them the 10 websites for $99 instead of this useless 3 websites, right? I mean, this plan has no value. It has no value for the customer, and it's just a greedy upsell to the expert plan. So when you have the 10 websites for $99, it kind of helps the users transition from a basic user to someone that's kind of maybe becoming a freelancer. You know, you're helping your family, you helped your brother build a website, and now the person's trying to get their feet wet, and then they want to start building websites for people, and maybe that might turn them into a freelancer, which leads them to the very next plan, which is the freelancer plan. So here we have the expert plan supporting 25 websites, and 25 websites isn't really committing you to that freelancer yet. You know what I mean? It's kind of like saying, well, I've made around, 20 websites, but 20 websites by definition, you're really not necessarily a full-time, full-blown web developer, web designer yet. So you're still trying to get your feet wet. So by upgrading that to something like 50 websites, will give you that cushion to decide, you know what? I built 30 websites. I think I am, this is my new career, and I think I really do want to go ahead and start building websites for a living. So with this pricing plan, it helps the user develop. It helps the user kind of transition to using Elementor and to actually becoming a full-blown agency. But the current pricing right here is just forcing users to upsell to a plan they don't necessarily need at all, right? So that's my opinion on the Essential and the Advanced plan, on how that can really help new users, learn with Elementor. Now let's talk about the actual studio and the agency. So I think something like 100 websites for $4.99 is something reasonable, because at that price, you're kind of already working with someone, and then you're hiring staff. And at that point, you're already kind of becoming somewhat of a team. Now, I'm going to talk more about their pricing in just a bit. However, I just want to reiterate about the ethics of their pricing first, and then we'll talk about whether or not they're charging too much money for their pricing. Now, lastly, we have the 1,000 websites for 1,000. Is that wait? Yeah, 1,000 websites for it's $1,000. The same thing. So what I'm saying here is we're actually using the plans for their actual purpose, not just giving them these BS names, right? So I think something for 1,000 websites, the Freelancer has now become a full-blown agency, and now they're kind of ready to take on new clients and ready to start building websites for a living. So with this new plan, I strongly believe that this actually helps the user grow and trust Elementor and want to use Elementor, instead of users having this sour taste in their mouth about their pricing plans, because I do agree, it's just forcing them to pay more money. And if I'm getting started with WordPress, I don't really need the expert plan, but I might need 5 websites. So I think they might want to really think about how users evolve from the basic person all the way to the end of agency. So that's just my take on that. Now let's also talk about the my suggestion. So as the user is actually using Elementor, I think offering them some sort of 25% increase from one plan to another, it helps that user transition, and it also helps that user trust Elementor. Like, these guys got my back, I like that. Instead of users to saying, or instead of company or customers to saying, well, the expert's $199 and now the studio's $599, or $499, so you got to pay that. And it just leaves that sour taste in people's mouths to saying, man, this company doesn't have my back at all. Like, they're not helping me out here. They're not really inviting me. But when you offer them that that upgrade discount, what it does is that it creates that sense of trust for customers to keep using Elementor. So that is my ethical pricing, and that is basically what I wanted to talk about. Now, let's talk about the history of the Elementor pricing and why people are in an uproar about the pricing. So I did actually look at their blogs. And poor Ben Pines, guys. Ben Pines, he's the CMO, guys. He's the marketing guy. So don't yell at him. Don't get upset with him. He's just doing his job. He's not sitting there saying, we're going to get your money. He's just doing his job as a CMO. So don't be too hard on him. He's a nice guy. But you can see that customers out here were really, really upset. Now, I don't think they're really upset about the pricing of Elementor in general. I think they're upset about the ethics of Elementor in general, about how Elementor has consistently raised their prices. And we've seen this from companies like SiteGround. And as you guys know, SiteGround got a lot of backlash from that, and a lot of users are leaving SiteGround for that same very reason. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So for the history of Elementor pricing, you guys can see in 2016 they came out. I believe their unlimited plan was $125. I believe it was when I was doing videos on Udemy about Elementor. And then in 2017, 2019, it was unlimited for $199. However, 2020 is when they really kind of made some decisions. They could have done this in a better way, but they did it too fast, and it made them look like this evil company. And you guys can see they had 1,000 websites for $199. And at this point, 2020, their integrity questions. People are saying, you know what? I don't know if Elementor is the right company for me. They're kind of raising their prices a lot. I really can't trust them. And in 2021, I think this really actually hurt their integrity. I think when they said, you know what, guys, forget the 1,000 websites. We're going to do 25 now. Gotcha, I think at that point, okay. Just making sure my microphone was on, guys. It happens to be sometimes. But I think at that point, people started to lose their faith in Elementor. They're saying, you know what, man, this company just doesn't care about me no more. They don't have my back, and they have a history of raising their prices. So how can I trust them in the future? And then in 2022, now we're facing next year. What's Elementor going to do next year? Are they going to raise their prices yet again? I mean, I wouldn't say no. I can't say that they're not going to do it because they have a history of raising their prices. So for the average user and the average consumer, we can see that their integrity is diluted. So they're losing their faith. They're losing their customers' faith, and that's a very big part of business because I'm American, guys, and I know how Americans are. Americans are either your best friend or they're your worst enemy. If a company loves you, they will go out on Mount Everest and they will scream they love your company every single day. But if they hate you, they will go on top of Mount Everest and they will scream that they hate your company and let everybody know every single day. So I do understand how Americans are. So integrity is more important than money. And I think Elementor I think they kind of messed that up a little bit. I think they really should have thought about how are people going to react to this. And, you know, that's kind of their mistake here. Now, going forward to this, there are some questions raised, and I do want to kind of bring those questions up for you guys. And, you know, we can talk about it, and you let me know in the comments below what you think about all this. Now, here are some questions raised, you know, and then we'll talk about the pros of Elementor. This video is not against Elementor, trust me, all right? We'll get to that in a little bit. But here are the questions raised about Elementor, you know. So they recently received a huge funding from a investor company of Lightspeed Venture Partners. And was this decision made by them? You know, were they saying, well, we'll give you the $15 million, but you guys need to start charging your customers more money? Is that something that's going to influence Elementor's future road? Are they going to have more of a corporate approach? Maybe they will, because they're approaching more than 200 employees, and that is a very large company. But personally, I think Elementor did this to help their company more than to actually hurt it, guys. I don't think they actually sit there and we're gonna go corporate to screw everybody over. I don't think they have that mindset. Now, one thing that concerns me here is I was reading Elementor's blog, and they do have this article right here that says how they're going to update their support staff. And this was written in January 13th of 2021. So it's a very updated article. And when I saw this, I was kind of torn here. And you guys can let me know what you think about this. So they said that they've doubled their team to meet the 30,000 conversions each month. 30,000 new customers a month is a lot of customers. And that averages out to around $3 million every single month that they're receiving. And when they said only 70 employees, I thought to myself, I don't think that's enough to handle 30,000 customers a month. How can 70 employees possibly handle the support of 30,000 people a month? Now, again, this is it's a blog post, so it's semi-speculation. But to me, I'm thinking to myself, their support is probably not going to get better if they're averaging 30,000 new customers a month, but they only have 70 employees to take care of that. Now, Elementor employs more than, I think, 190 people, and we'll talk about their employment a little bit later in the video. But the question is there, you know, is their support still going to be useless? Because I don't think they have enough employees to support that many people. And this is coming from Elementor. Are these numbers, you know, are they fudged a little bit? Maybe, I don't know, but that just sounds like, that doesn't really sound like good news to me. They made it sound like good news, but I'm like, well, that's a lot of customers, and that's really not a lot of people to support those websites. So that is a cause for concern. Now, also, let's talk about their existing customers. So, you know, when I was reading their blog and everything, the biggest speculation I have is, well, now they're saying that their premium support is going to be, everyone will be helped in one day, and that is on their, you know, that is on their new pricing plan, saying that premium support will be up to 1 day. But I'm just very curious as to how they're going to support all those people on plans with 1,000 websites. And then they're going to say, oh, we'll also help the people on the new website plans. So I'm just kind of, again, I'm just kind of speculating to think that, you know, going into that, I'm going to have my head down saying, well, I don't think they're going to be able to do that. I just don't think they're going to have enough support team to actually do that. And you can see people here are just upset and, you know, whatever, but that's just how it is. But that's my personal opinion. I don't think that they're going to have enough staff to support these numbers, because that's how many employees they said they had. So that's just my opinion. And again, I think the problem here with Elementor, why they did this, is they're doubling down on a service that they don't have. I myself had a problem with Elementor on my new Amazon affiliate tutorial I'm making, and we had a problem with the blog post, and it took Elementor 5 days to write back to us. And they apologized. They said, sorry for the long time and wait. How can we help you? And then another day goes, and it wasn't until 7 days that we actually figured the problem out. So the issue here is that they're doubling down on a service that they have a bad reputation in the community, and everyone knows it. You know, we can't sit here and just all lie and say, oh, their support's great. Everyone out there knows that their support is already kind of not really that good. So by them doubling down on a service they don't really have at all is, again, it's like, well, your support's already not that good, man. So, you know, now I don't really feel valued as a customer. And again, we go back to that ethical dilemma with customers and their pricing plan. And was this a good time to raise their prices? Well, I don't know. You know, I don't know, because now we have Gutenberg on the rise, and many people are saying, well, Gutenberg is not their competitor. But Matt Mullenweg and his team, it looks like they're making Gutenberg a full-fledged page builder, and they want to take out page builders, and that's their #1 goal. Now, again, that's my opinion, but based off Gutenberg and the development of it, it looks like they're trying to take out page builders. So was this a good time for Elementor to actually increase their prices? Personally, I think they should have waited for their support to kind of kick in over the year and then later say, hey, now we're going to charge you guys more because of our competition, and that would have been fine. But seeing how Gutenberg came out and it's free, and then they say, oh, now we're going to raise our prices, I think you're going to see people maybe even leave Elementor and go to Gutenberg based off this specific time. So again, that's my position. And SiteGround was a good example. You know, SiteGround last year, they raised their prices twice, and then their speed got slower. And SiteGround, you know, they thought that they were on top. They thought, well, everyone's recommending us, so we're going to be just fine. And everyone actually stopped recommending them just like that. And, you know, everyone just left. And the same thing could happen to Elementor. People can all just leave and saying, well, we're going to use Brizy now. We're going to use Divi. We're going to use another page builder because you guys don't care about us, or something like that. So now I'm speaking here from the perspective of normal customers. I'm not really talking about what I believe. I'll talk more about what I believe at the end of the video. I'll give you my total verdict on everything. Now, let's talk about other questions, you know. So, is Elementor's prices expensive? Well, let's take a look at other products in the industry. I mean, you have WP Forms charging $300 for a simple contact form, guys. I mean, $199 for a contact form, and Elementor already gives you this contact form. And then we have other plugins like MemberPress. MemberPress goes up to $349 every year for a membership plugin. So, you know, I think that this isn't really as complicated to make as a full-fledged page builder with tons of features. And also, we can't forget about Yoast. Yoast charges, I mean, for 100 websites, you're going to pay around almost $5,000 for an SEO plugin. Their pricing, to me, is crazy. I think these prices are really, really high. But then again, guys, these guys have massive overhead, and we'll talk again more about that a little bit later. And then also Restrict Content Pro. These guys are charging $250 a year. You know, same thing with WooCommerce. You know, their booking plugin, $250 a year. You know, and then EDD, $299 a year, and then also their all access is $500 a year. So when I see Elementor's original pricing plan of something like $200, let me go ahead and just give you guys a visual of it here, just to kind of give you an example. I don't really think that these are competitive prices. I think they've had to raise their prices for a while. I've said that Divi and Elementor should be raising their prices like 2 years ago, because the amount of development that goes into this product for $199 is just too cheap, guys. There's so much you can do with Elementor, and there's so much that it does. And comparing them to the market, you know, these other guys are charging more money for plugins that do a lot less. I mean, membership, $349, a contact form. I mean, this is really expensive stuff. And I think Elementor has just not really been charging their customers enough. And I've always said that. And the same thing with Divi. I think Divi is still not charging their customers enough, because these guys have 200 staff that work on this product, and they're giving it away for $199. So in that regard, that's my personal opinion. I've always thought that the prices for Elementor and Divi and Brizy are always too cheap, you know, and that's just my position on it, because their competitors are charging a lot more money for products that, you know, do a lot less. Now, let's take a look at their staff. So Elementor actually does employ around 200 staff, and that is a lot of people. And when you actually think about the numbers, 300 here, I actually did the math here for you guys. So let's just say they have 200 staff, right? And let's just say they're paying everyone $150,000. I know that sounds like a lot of money, but when you're dealing with the tech industry, these people have to get paid, right? And 150K in California is actually poverty. In fact, $300,000 is standard living in San Francisco. So yeah, just ponder on that for a while. So when you do the math of 200 people, and then let's just give them a salary of $150,000 a year for web developers and developments, you know, they're spending around $30 million a year on overhead. So $30 million a year on overhead, you know, that's a lot of money. And if they're only making around $3 million a month, that means they're only profiting around $6 million a year. And remember, these are averages, guys. These are averages. I don't know if these are their 100% true numbers, so I don't think anybody can give you that. But looking at Glassdoor, it looks like a lot of people that work with Elementor love it. You know, they have these reviews, and they have nothing but positive reviews. I mean, these guys have just great reviews from everybody. You know, so I'm very glad that Elementor is doing this. You know, I think the fact that they're offering, you know, that they're having this workplace where people love it is amazing, because I myself, I used to work for a company and they made me hate my job so much, I actually went on leave. And I just said, I'm so depressed here, I can't handle it, I have to leave, you know. And that was a long time ago, but looking at the reviews, we can say that Elementor has a great ethics with their employees, you know, so they are really trying to help out their employees. So kudos to them, you know. So before you guys point the finger and saying, you know, F this company, just bear with me here, okay? So based off this information, let's keep on digging with this. Now, I can understand the people's frustration because they're basing all of these plans on support by saying, oh, the premium support, premium support, premium support. But everyone in the community knows their support is non-existent. In fact, if you go to their WordPress.org the forums, I mean, they don't even answer the questions no more. But personally, I think that these forums should not be allowed anymore, because they're offering for free help. And how can Elementor give out free help to anybody? It's just not in their best interest. And if I own a product, I'm not going to sit there and give out free support for a product. It's like, no, this product's free, man. Go do what you want. Get out of here, you know. But when I see this right here, I can't blame Elementor for doing this, and I think maybe that this is a dilemma with WordPress.org. Maybe they need to actually rethink everything, because now you're getting these products with huge user bases, and they're expecting their companies to give out free support for those products. It just doesn't work, guys. It just does not work in the end. So you know, that's my opinion on that. But I can understand the frustration of people saying, well, I don't really care about their support, I just want to put on this many websites. So that is, you know, that is an argument, and I do understand that. Now, also, what's hard for Elementor too is that a lot of these problems that you guys get with Elementor, and a lot of these problems that you get working on websites, they have nothing to do with Elementor, nothing. And a lot of these problems are conflictions with third-party plugins, like some random plugin you bought on Envato, or some random plugin that you bought on some shady website. And the real dilemma is that those plugins have the problem, and they're conflicting with Elementor. So I would say around maybe half the requests Elementor gets is that their product isn't working, but it's not working because other products are conflicting with Elementor. So seeing that right there, you have to understand from Elementor's point of view, saying, well, you know, we are giving you the support, but again, a lot of these problems have nothing to do with us, and it's hard for us to kind of help you guys because these problems aren't from us. So I can understand that problem with Elementor, and I can also stand it from the customer point of view. So it could be frustrating for both people, the company and Elementor here. Now let's go ahead and quickly let's quickly talk about things to note here. Now, again, their pricing for their plans, it's really not unreasonable, figuring out that a lot of their competitors are charging very similar prices. And if you are an agency, and if you are working with, you know, 1,000 websites, $1,000 for the year is nothing. I mean, and remember, you can write this off on your taxes as a write-off. So you can get a discount on your taxes because you purchased a more expensive product. I have to buy very expensive products because I want to keep my taxes down as much as possible. So I need write-offs, right? And for those of you who actually make a lot of money, you understand my argument. You have to buy, you know, you have to write off your food. You have to buy a bunch of, you know, you got to buy a bottle opener for your water. That's for business, you know, and that's just how it works. So you can always use all of this as a write-off for your business. So when you are, you know, spending money, just note that it's a business expense. So that actually kind of helps right there, because that actually helps you with your taxes. And this is another big problem. It's been a problem for years in that people treat online products way differently than normal products. For example, you guys wouldn't have a problem buying the Apple headphones, right? You guys wouldn't have a problem buying this, right? But this costs $549. That's ridiculous. And when you convert that to kind of what you're getting with Elementor, you can actually say, well, you know what? I can get the studio plan at that price, you know, because I can make money. I can use that money to make money for $500 a year, or I can buy some crappy headphones that's probably going to break in about 6 months, and I'm gonna have to have Apple replace it, and I'm gonna have to get their Apple Care, and it's just a bunch of nonsense. So when people are purchasing digital products versus physical products, they really have a different mindset, and they shouldn't. However, that's just how the industry is, and I get that. And also, the average person spends around $1,000 a year on coffee. And I am totally guilty of that. I buy TomToms in the morning because I live in Asia now, so I buy TomToms. I buy Starbucks, the cold brew. And what else do I buy here? Starbucks, cold brew. TomTom's coffee is pretty good. Amazon coffee is pretty good. Yeah, but I do spend quite a bit of money on coffee. So the average person spends around $1,000 a year on coffee. And when you convert that to something like Elementor's agency plan, it's still $1,000, but you're using this to make money, and you get a discount because you're writing it off on your taxes. So when I see that, I'm thinking, well, maybe their pricing plan isn't that terrible for people who are actively using it for that specific reason. And then again, think of the luxury items that you waste on coffee or on luxury items and so on and forth. Now let's talk about Elementor. So has Elementor been helpful to you guys? Have they done their job as a company, and have they reached out to their customers and helped them? Well, yeah, I would say so. In fact, they just had a new update about their new experiments. They want to give you guys features faster. They want to actually help you guys get your features faster. They want to help you guys get more stuff quicker. So in that regard, I can see Elementor helping their customers and reaching out to them. And also, let's talk about the features. Elementor actually lets you guys vote on your features, which I think is really cool. Divi doesn't offer that, and I wish Divi did. And Elegant Themes, if you are watching this, I want the add to cart button. That's all I want, so I can make WooCommerce tutorials for Divi. But there's no add to cart button for Divi, and it just blows my mind sometimes. But Elementor actually has people voting on their new features, so they are very interactive with the community, which I do really like. And also, one big thing to note, guys, about Elementor is that before you guys sit there and saying, well, Elementor is the greedy people here, you guys have to realize that they've been stiff-armed by a lot of third-party developers. I'm sure you guys have noticed that you guys have probably got add-ons for Elementor, and these add-ons did all of the pro features that Elementor has, right? So when I see these developers making these third-party plugins that hijack Elementor, again, it's hard for Elementor because they're saying, well, now these developers are making these plugins for Elementor, and they do all of the pro features. So this sucks, and they shouldn't do that. But those developers, they want to make money off Elementor. So you can see how Elementor is kind of the victim now in this situation, but they have the theme builder to protect them. I think if they didn't have the theme builder, Elementor would be in a lot of trouble, but they have the theme builder, and that kind of forces people to buy the pro version. So also think about the outside perspective of other developers kind of trying to rip off Elementor and making pro versions, and kind of I guess you want to say stripping money away from Elementor and their pro version. So that's always been a dilemma, and I have seen that in the industry. So I do have to say something because I have seen it. Now let's go ahead and talk about the last thing, guys. So what is my verdict? What do I think about everything that's going on so far? I wrote it down for you guys. I wrote it down, and let's go ahead and read what I said here. So let's read it verbatim. You guys ready? So my verdict: the price is necessary and is fair for the average user. So if you are using it for your specific plan, I think the pricing plan is totally fair, because people that are currently using this for an agency, yeah, $1,000 makes sense, to build unlimited websites, or 1,000 websites, which is unlimited if you think about it. Now, WordPress products are just becoming more expensive to create and maintain, so I don't think the pricing is unfair, and that goes back to Elementor having more than 200 staff, and I think that their pricing is fair. And look at their competitors. Their competitors are charging way more money. It's like what? So why can't Elementor charge more then? But I think they should not have doubled down on a service they've already lacked on. So I don't think they should have went out and said the premium support. It's like, guys, Elementor, we all know that the support's really not that good. So when you're saying you're doubling down on a service that doesn't really exist anyways, it just makes them look worse, And I do hope that their support actually becomes something good. I mean, I gotta be honest, I'm not trying to promote Divi. Divi has amazing support, and they're actually supported on what, like 2-3 million websites. And when I have a problem with Divi, they respond to me in a day. And that's just how it's always been with elegant themes. And that's why the integrity with Divi is a lot higher. People like Divi because they like Nick Roach. They like their support. Those guys are really helpful. But when they say this, I feel like they're kind of like pushing their customers in the face, you know, like, oh, the support's good. It's like they're saying it's good. The community saying it's bad kind of thing. But that's my opinion. So, but based off their conversions, they said, and their current staff, I don't think they'll be able to provide the support for their new users and current new customers. So what that means is saying they've only said they had 70 support staff, and I don't think they're going to be able to support one day support for their previous customers and their new customers, because I just don't think that's enough people. 70 support staff for that, I don't think that's a lot, but we'll see what happens. You know, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll be totally wrong about this. Maybe I'll be completely wrong. Maybe I'll watch this video in like 6 months and I'll be like, yeah, I got to take that video down now. You know, we don't know. But that's what I think based off the experience I've had and based off the experience viewers have had. Because guys, I have Elementor tutorials with like 300,000 to 500,000 views. And I see people in the comments, and that's their #1 complaint is their support, saying, hey, I sent them an email, no one responded to me. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's how they are. That's how it is. And that's kind of how it's always been. We've just kind of known, it's like, yeah, their support sucks, but the product's great. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But overall, I do think the pricing's fair based off of their current employees and how they treat their employees very good and everything else. But again, I don't think they should have doubled down on a service they don't really even have yet. I mean, their support is like, you know, come on guys, your support's amazing overnight. Like, you got to show us, and that's the problem. Elementor's never showed us they have good support yet. So if you like this video, I'm sorry, not if you like this video. If you guys think that what I said was true about the pricing and you guys think Elementor is fair, like this video. However, if you guys think that the pricing is still unjustified, you think it's expensive, Elementor is being greedy, go ahead and dislike this video, because I want you guys to give your overall opinion. I would never censor people to sit there and not give their opinion, so I don't care if there's 1,000 dislikes on this video. I really don't. So it's just, it's a community thing here, you know. So I just want to go ahead and bring up all these points and everything else about my ethical pricing and everything. So that is my video, guys. And yeah, if you guys agree with Elementor, give this video a thumbs up. And if you guys think this was a greedy move by Elementor, give it a vote down. But I do hope you guys like this video. If you guys did like this video, let me know in the comments. Don't like the video, just let me know in the comments. I like this video, I disliked it. And maybe people can like that comment and dislike it to see how the video actually performed, okay? But my name is Darrel Wilson, and I will see all of you party people in the next video, guys. Take care.